It's no secret that the internet changed graffiti. And because graffiti is still a fairly young art form that's really still sort of finding its feet, a lot of the really early content that was put onto the internet and on YouTube that was graffiti related played a huge role in shaping those new global graffiti communities. And I would even say that the content being put out then was even disproportionately impactful probably on the global sort of graffiti community. And with that being said, today we are going to discuss the top 12 old graffiti YouTube channels and a little bit about their history. Now, admittedly, the 12 channels on this list are not the only channels of their age, likely, but the 12 channels on this list are ones that I believe are particularly influential and made the biggest impact on the landscape of graffiti once the internet sort of became involved. So if you do have some graffiti channels in mind that had an influence on you or you feel had a large influence on graffiti as a whole, put them down in the comments and tell everyone what they were like as well. So number 12 on this list is Viva City RU, which is the official YouTube channel of the website vivacity.ru, which showcases the Russian graffiti scene. The channel isn't super old, having only been around since September of 2010, and it's had a relatively modest view count with close to 7 million views that is spread over 417 different videos on the channel at the time of recording. But they have uploaded consistent top-class videos over the last decade, from street bombing to train bombing and everything in between, that really gives you a good look at how the Russian graffiti scene is. Despite only having about 32,000 subscribers currently, they do consistently produce top-class content. Still to this day, they've had many sponsors on their videos, and I think their channel is an awesome look into the graffiti culture in Russia, and it's a cool look to see some of the differences between graffiti cultures over there and where I'm from, and specifically sort of the public attitude towards graffiti in some sense. Number 11 on this list is a channel that I sort of wanted to add just to show that even way back in 2009, when this channel was created, there was still a huge range of types of graffiti being uploaded to YouTube. And the channel itself is Helio Bray. This European artist, even way back in 2009, was uploading a lot of that really colorful, wild style type, what I would describe as like a new wave type of graffiti. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone but me, but that's what I feel is a term that makes sense for it. And the channel itself isn't particularly impressive in any way. I just wanted to show it more because it is old and because it does showcase that the diversity in graffiti content was even around way back then. The artist who has that channel, Helio Bray, seems to have a massive following on Instagram. He focuses most of his efforts on that platform. And as we break into the top 10, this next one is one that probably a lot of people had in their head as an older graffiti channel, and that is, of course, the Sciz graffiti channel. It's been around since September 2009, and for me, what his channel is he's almost like one of the pioneering people who helped to popularize graffiti unboxings, how-to graffiti videos, and even to a certain extent graffiti product reviews as well. I believe he just recently posted his 1,000th video. He's got a few more than 1,000 now, so congrats on that to him. And his channel deserves way more than just a passing mention in this list, of course, and there's so many interesting facts about it that I could tell. If you guys would be interested in a more in-depth video about the Sciz YouTube channel, let me know and I can start production of that. With the emergence of graffiti forums becoming double as graffiti supply stores and graffiti supply aggregators, obviously it wasn't too long before those graffiti aggregators had YouTube in their sites as a legitimate way to promote their business. And to me, this channel wasn't really a big surprise that it's so old on YouTube, because they've always had great social media marketing tactics. Even to this day, they do still. And that is, of course, the Bombing Science YouTube channel. The channel itself was established December 16th of 2008, but obviously their online store and forums have been around since either, I believe, 1998 or previous to that. But even just with their YouTube channel, they've managed to garnish 3.3 million views and 60,000 plus subscribers over just 261 videos. And to me, this is one of the channels that made great strides towards the more widespread acceptance of the use of professionally engineered and designed graffiti implements rather than the do-it-yourself type graffiti stuff. We all love both here on the channel, but this is one of the channels that furthered that mentality, I think. Number 8 on this list is one that's similar in category to the last channel we just looked at, but far more influential, and it was created October 14th of 2008. The channel earned itself 37 million views as of time of recording and just 200,000 subscribers from those 37 million by creating some of the highest quality and most loved graffiti videos of all time, really, I think. And it is the channel that used to go by Iron Lack Films. Of course, now it is just Iron Lack. Now, this channel was actually supremely influential in getting me into graffiti myself, and I'm sure that's the same with a lot of other people who were sort of young kids like a decade ago when Iron Lack was consistently putting out tons of great content. The Iron Lack channel legitimately does create professional quality videos, and they featured artists such as Does, Askew, Burst, Ewok, and many more. The most notable of those and the most successful video they've done is one featuring Soffles. It's titled Soffles Limitless, shot and cut by Selena Miles, I believe, who has her own YouTube channel as well. And I remember when that video came out, it doesn't feel like that long ago, but I remember just even on the opening day of that video, watching it, and I was like, holy crap, if this trajectory continues, this video is going to be huge. And today I would go as far as saying it probably still is the most viewed graffiti related video of all time. If there's one bigger, I don't know, I haven't seen it, which makes me think there definitely isn't. If you guys have one though, put it in the comments. Of course, I'd love to see it. And this is another channel that, of course, could have a whole video on its own, and if you'd like to see that, let me know. Number 7 on this list of old graffiti YouTube channels is a real banger. It's one that has had plenty of massive videos come out on it over the years, and with 6.4 million views on just 74 videos, the channel is Rasco. Of course it is. Now again, I could talk forever about this channel and about Rasco. Of course, he himself is super talented, and that is one of the major factors of the success of this channel, as well as, again, it sort of brought eyes towards the Russian graffiti scene in a few videos as well, which showcased some of the differences in how graffiti is perceived publicly in Russia versus, say, North American regions or even maybe European regions, but definitely there's some stark differences between North America and Russian environments in that sense. Rasco's obviously done very well with paint sponsors such as Montana over the years. I always thought it would be really interesting to see how Rasco and Iron Lack would fare if they sort of teamed up a little bit and he became sponsored by them. I know Iron Lack doesn't really seem to sponsor many new artists. Like, they had a good handle on the quality artists coming out of their area back in the day, and you don't hear too much about like newly sponsored Iron Lack artists these days, at least. Speaking of Montana cans though, the number 6 old graffiti channel on this list is Montana Cans. With 224 videos, 48,000 subscribers, and 6.2 million views, I would actually sort of argue that the channel has underachieved a little bit. With such a strong brand that really is worldwide, and with such professional quality content on their channel as well, it sort of surprising that they were never really pushed so hard by YouTube's search and discovery systems, and I think this could be an easy channel to help make the argument that YouTube doesn't always necessarily promote the stuff that they should 100% of the time. But that's straying a bit out of bounds for this video, so I won't open up a whole can of worms there. Something I do feel it's important to mention though is that if there's one channel you can compare Montana Cans to, it's definitely the Iron Lack channel, and Iron Lack found far more success on YouTube, obviously, than the Montana channel did. And if I had to put my finger on it, I would sort of guess that it comes down to Iron Lack early on in the game securing a lot of talent and really associating their brand with highly talented artists. Maybe they did that a little bit better than Montana Cans, and maybe the Iron Lack production team was a little bit better. Although the style of videos that come out on each channel are obviously different, it is still sort of hard to pick out why one channel was so popular and the other wasn't. But when you do see the most viewed videos of Iron Lack, then you do see those differences there, I think. Just my thoughts though. I don't know, maybe that's something to discuss in the comments. The fifth oldest graffiti channel on this list is one that you'll definitely associate with the term Montana Cans, and that is because it is a Montana sponsored graffiti artist and friend of our channel here who appeared on the premiere episode of our graffiti podcast, Smo. Yes, the Smo Nova channel. Now, arguably this channel shouldn't really be on the list because although it was created in July 1st of 2007, Smo has gone from having about 20,000 subscribers to having 200,000 subscribers to date in probably under 2 years-ish. And he's gained a lot of momentum on the platform very quickly. So his content, I would say, wasn't so influential back in the day when a lot of these other channels were producing great content, but he's getting a lot of success now and definitely has a lot of eyes of graffiti writers and artists on his work and his channel. And I would definitely say that there's three main factors for the success of his channel, in my humble opinion. Number one, it wasn't really until Smo started inserting his super shiny personality into his videos that the content really took off, I don't think. That, coupled with some collaborations with mega huge YouTubers that he's been able to do, and of course his incredible skill itself and background in design, I think those 3 or 4 factors are really the reason for the recent growth of his channel. So if anything, I think it's fair to say that the Smo Nova channel has been much more of a recent influence on global graffiti communities, although it's been around for so long. Number 4 on this list is one that's very near and dear to many people's hearts, and it is the Art Primo YouTube channel, which was established September 11th, 2006, the channel itself, not the store. With 440 videos at the time of recording, 152,000 subscribers, and get this, 27 million video views, it's obvious that the sort of low budget graffiti product type content that the legendary Green Ranger has been able to put out on that channel has really hit home with a lot of graffiti artists and writers. This is definitely a way to tell that GR has hugely connected with his audience on the platform and has had a great influence over a lot of younger and older graffiti writers even over the past decade on YouTube. Coming in at number 3 on the list is a channel that's in a very different genre actually than most of the other ones we've seen on this list. The channel was launched July 31st of 2006, and this is where I get a little bit passionate about the topic because this is a Canadian graffiti writer who was uploading videos 15 years ago that are honestly better than a lot of the painting content that comes out on YouTube nowadays, in my opinion. Between 15 years ago and 6 years ago, the channel above released 311 videos, which secured 14.2 million views. And you guys have to understand that 14 million views at that time, that's massive. If you saw a video that had 1 million views back like even 10 years ago, that was like mind-boggling. Nowadays, that happens every day, obviously, but for any content, let alone graffiti content, to have the viewership that Above was getting is just insane to me. And because of that, I would argue that Above is legitimately one of the most influential graffiti writers on this list. And he's definitely had a huge impact in Canada and abroad. There's even a great video on a channel called UFO. If you guys haven't heard of that, I'll link his channel. It's a great one to check out. UFO did a video on Above's influence and his art. That was a great video. And down the road on this channel, we'll be discussing some of these other channels in a bit more depth. But this list is a long one, so I'm gonna move on to number 2 now. Number 2 is in the same boat, sort of, in terms of being massively influential on the graffiti platform early on. And I think part of the reason for that with this specific channel is because way back in the day, YouTube wasn't saturated yet with any types of content, let alone graffiti content. So that might be something that contributed to this next channel's success a little bit. On June 17th, 2006, the graffiti artist who goes by Shiva created the graffiti channel Fexy, which was his tag at the time. And he really, like, legitimately was the very first person on YouTube that would just sit down in front of a camera and be like, okay guys, I'm gonna do this today. And he'd like do a graffiti canvas. He would upload some work of his graffiti walls, but he would mostly focus on stickers and canvases. And at that time when he was making these videos, he was getting tons and tons of subscribers, to a degree where you would just wonder, like, I didn't think this many people would ever watch a video of someone doing a graffiti canvas. Like, it was mind-boggling at the time. He also created some very helpful graffiti tutorials, actually, which sadly are no longer on YouTube now. He's still active on Instagram, but decided quite a while ago to take his Facebook down, and he's removed almost all of his graffiti videos from YouTube. If you go to the channel now, that'll be evidenced by him having 20,000+ subscribers and almost no videos on there. And to be clear, he had 20,000 subscribers like 10 years ago, and he still has about that many. So you do have to factor that in when you're looking at this channel, and it's hard to tell with a lot of these older channels just how influential they really were on a lot of younger graffiti writers, including me. It was really a thing to behold, for sure. And even to this day, I don't think there's any other channels that have really replicated just the exact type of content that Shiva was producing. But now it is that time for the oldest and, I would say, most influential graffiti channel on YouTube. The oldest graffiti channel on YouTube here that helped really shape and mold the growth of graffiti before and after the era of the internet is Stomp Down. Of course, Stomp Down. On April 28th, 2006, the first Stomp Down channel was launched, and it was followed by the second Stomp Down channel, both of which are still active to this day, the second being created on March 30th, 2011. And between those two channels, Capital Q, as he is known to many, has uploaded 1,692 videos. And it's just so satisfying to me that the #1 channel on this list legitimately is the very oldest graffiti channel on YouTube, the very most influential graffiti channel on YouTube, and the one with sort of the most videos. The Stomp Down crew has been active since seems like the beginning of time to me. But they're from Surrey, BC, Canada, and the content they have on YouTube is legitimately some of the best content that will ever be on YouTube for any genre of hip-hop, really, not just graffiti. Obviously, the main focus of the channel was always graffiti, but it also served as the official launch place for music videos of rappers in the crew, such as Caspian, Snack the Ripper, and Mercules. There also have been a few sort of skateboarding-related videos, as well as some DJing that has come out on the channel, and I think a bit of breakdancing stuff too. I don't quite remember. And again, there's so much more to talk about here, and that's obviously the history of this crew is actually, it's one that's important to, I would say, likely most graffiti writers from Canada like myself. But I think the biggest thing that we should be thankful for is just that Q decided many years ago that documenting what SDK has been about for decades was something that was important to do, and he has continued to do that as consistently as you possibly can over a 15-year stint. It's been incredible, it really has. And without his commitment, even through some really rough times, I believe, for him, as he's mentioned, I believe, in the past, the graffiti landscape would not be the same as it is today. But in the near future on this channel, you'll be getting some more of the juicy details about all of the channels we mentioned today. So if you do want to hear more about that, feel free to subscribe and maybe check out a few more of the videos on our channel today that are on screen now. The first link in the description will be to where you can pick up your very own tags, throws, and pieces t-shirt or sweater if you want to hook yourself up with that. I hope I'll see you in one of the videos on screen soon. Until then, peace.